Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 98 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I'm James Parisi here with my co-host Aiden Sarah. And man, it's December. I'm feeling those winter blues. The weather is pissy. The weather's rainy. I can't actually see out my window right now. It's just gray and wet. I don't really know what's going on out there, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm here with you guys. Aiden, how are we, fella?
Snowy, bro.
Yeah.
Snowy, but I'm going home.
Ooh.
This time next week, I'll be back in BC for a bit. Um, it is snowing a lot, and it
Ew.
started snowing around when oh, Remembrance Day. If it doesn't start snowing till Remembrance Day, that's good. That's not a long snow. But then it did it, and I'm still mad.
Hmm. Hmm. You've been catching much NHL puck while you've been holding him from the snow?
Yes, and there's more to this later. When was the last time you think by December 5th, which is when we're recording this, the NHL season was this exciting?
Well, if you're referencing the fact that any of the bottom four teams in the Eastern Conference could end up placing top three in each of their divisions, yeah, dude, I don't know if ever.
And even the way the youth, and I know there's been a lot made of that, the way the youth has grabbed the grabbed the torch and sprinted with it. Like if we look at some of the players playing their best hockey, it is literally just a complete mix of young guys who are living up to their potential and mainstays that are having the seasons we expect out of them. And there's not really neither of those categories are disappointing at all.
And talk about some of those young guys because we've gone off and off about the Bedard, about the Celebrini, about Matthew Schaefer, but who are some of the off the board guys who have been blowing you away? Young guys who are really starting to take the league over.
Yeah, the injury to Brett Pesci has opened up a lot of Simon Nemec minutes, and we have been kind of waiting. Like, this guy was drafted, 2021, 2022? So we've been waiting for Nemec to show up for New Jersey, and he's been at the center of trade
Aiden, not
rumors.
just waiting. Aiden waiting so long that people have been throwing the bust term around and saying like, oh, they've got to trade this guy. Oh, they've got to give up on this guy. Enough so that guys they bring in via trade are overtaking him in training camp, and he's launching complaints into the media. Like this is a much cataloged saga of events here for him to get to this point.
And he is outscoring every single other defenseman. Him and Luke Hughes have played the same number of games. Nemec has 5 more goals and 1 more point. Dougie Hamilton's only played 4 less games than him, and Nemec has almost twice the number of points. And you look at this New Jersey Devils team, and you thought Dougie Hamilton and Luke Hughes were completely the driving forces, the players behind the steering wheel on that back end. And you know what? As far as Dougie Hamilton goes, we've talked about this before. As he gets older, he's 32 years old now. He's had lower body injury concerns. He's only played 80, I think he only played 84 games in the 2 previous seasons to this one. So it might not be Hamilton and Siegenthaler or Hughes underperforming. I think it's just that Nemec has played well enough that New Jersey can rest the guys. They can give him some more manageable minutes, especially because Brendan Dillon has weirdly played really, really well at 35 years old now in New Jersey. After he had a decent year last year, but the 3 seasons in Winnipeg, I thought Winnipeg was asking too much of him, and he struggled in those matchups, I think, because of it.
Oh, and shout out Brendan Dillon as you're mentioning him, 1,000 games for an undrafted guy. That's it's a pretty remarkable achievement. And I mean, this isn't a guy I've been super kind to over the course of his career, and sometimes media hasn't either. But the guy has a lot of fight, and you look at the amount of hits, the amount of block shots, and how much of a warrior he's been. Not to mention, I believe his participation in the San Jose Sharks holiday rap music video from about 11, 12 years ago, whatever that was. Look it up if you aren't familiar with it. It's quite the gem. Fantastic, in fact.
Okay, really quick, I was talking about how exciting everything is. We're It's getting better, like the whole league marketing thing, but we're still missing a lot.
Yep.
Like we're still missing a lot of what could happen and the lights that could be shining on this league right now. The other youth thing that's happening, we had a lot of these three have stood out goaltending prospects from the 2019 and the 2020 NHL drafts. It's rare that you get first round picks that are goalies, and we had three of them in that stretch. And speaking of busts, like Spencer Knight entered the player assistance program and he got labeled by a lot like this was going to be a failed player. Florida shipped him off to Chicago, and he has absolutely like he to me right now. If I had to make my Vezina finalists, Spencer Knight's in there. He's I know the goals against average doesn't look good, but he's a 919 on a Chicago team that lets up a lot of grade A scoring chances. And quite frankly, there's a chance that Jesper Wallstedt, the way he's playing of late, is even better. Wallstedt's got 4 shutouts. He's posting a 944 save percentage and a 1.74 goals against average. 10 games, 8 wins. Do Minnesota have the best goaltending tandem in the NHL right now?
Potentially. I mean, there's a lot of good guys out there, but you're just forgetting another tandem in the division that has lit the league on fire. So, I mean, yeah, sure, in the past 2 weeks, perhaps, but up until that point, and maybe even through that point, I think the Avalanche have a better tandem.
Yeah. Other thing, very important. I think Minnesota's two guys have like it's gonna be Volstedt, the man they keep. I don't think Bill Guerin's gonna be silly about that. But Philip Gustafson, imagine what Edmonton is gonna give up for Philip Gustafson if he's made available to them. Like the Oilers, it's pretty much pick a prospect and a draft pick from the Edmonton Oilers if Minnesota want to move Gustafson to them. Um, Third of the three, Yaroslav Askarov. Again, the numbers aren't
Aiden,
coming.
sorry, before you go, Skarov, I actually had a hockey dream the other day.
Okay.
I had a dream. I don't know if it's premonition. Maybe I'm like that. Maybe I have some magic in my brain, but I had a dream that Philip Gustafson was a Columbus Blue Jacket.
Minnesota would have to hold on to him a little bit longer because I don't think Columbus makes that move until it's like, oh, we're ready. Yeah, maybe off season. We'll see. I don't
Am
know
I a
about.
shaman? I don't know.
I
If
think
if Philip Gustafson is a Columbus
yeah.
Blue Jacket, I need some awards here.
Give you your flowers.
It's an
Um,
off the board pick, but yeah, take it away.
Volstedt's the only one of these three that's still on the team that drafted him. Askarov's another guy where you had first Pekka Rinne and then Yusei Saros ahead of him in the Predators depth chart. Nashville gives up on him, more so probably because of the investment they'd already made in Saros, but he goes to San Jose. I thought that was a perfect team to acquire him. And has a tough year last year, has a tough start to this year, but he's really, really hit the ground running. So all of a sudden it's not just the Bedard, the Celebrini, the Carlsons. It's guys that like James said, the B words thrown around. The bust is I think unfairly levied against some of these guys too early. Number one, I've talked at length about the COVID development curve thing that we're gonna still see happen where the players drafted between 2020 and 2024 had crucial years of their development hindered because of COVID and played so little hockey that you're going to see these development trajectories be a little bit all over the place. And I think to an extent that's what happened with Simon Nemec. With the other three, you add the fact that they're goaltenders, and goaltenders already, it'll be varying times, varying degrees of roles they play even. And Spencer Knight, Jesper Wallstedt, and Yaroslav Askarov have all three backed up some pretty great goaltenders in their careers already. So you could tell they're learning from them. And man, as the generation of young forwards, young defensemen take over the league, we're all of a sudden seeing three goaltenders show up and stamp their place.
Aiden, who's next? What goalie's coming up next?
I love Jacob Fowler, dude. I am such a big Jacob Fowler fan. He's played at Boston in the NCAA for a few years, and he's a Montreal Canadian. And if Jacob Fowler ends up jumping in, and don't forget too, I think he's playing now his third season in the NCAA. So, you got Volstedt who went to the AHL to develop. Fowler played 2 years at BC. He's in Laval this year, and he's got a 9.20 and a 2.15 in 13 games with Laval in the AHL, James. 21-year-old Jacob Fowler. So you think about the Edmonton Oilers and their goaltending struggles. They've had these goaltending struggles the entire time. The entire time they've been competitive. It's been the question marks about the crease. Now Montreal, likewise, Jakob Dobj and Samuel Montembeault have raised a lot of questions, but you look at a Montreal team that's further back in their team development than the Edmonton Oilers, you ask yourself, well, can you wait 2-3 years for this 21-year-old? The way Jakob Dobj is playing, yeah, you can roll the 1A, 1B Montembeault Dobj into a 1A, 1B. I think it's Dobj, but it might be Montembeault and Fowler, and then Jacob Fowler, the way Spencer Knight has, steps in. Like it's that's my next goalie up. I'm a big fan of Carter George too, but he's 19 years old.
Right.
It's a little bit harder to judge. We haven't seen him play anything above junior level anywhere. So I like him as a Canadian guy, but I think Fowler's the best coming, which is fantastic because guess what, James? Another American goaltender to add to a already long list of American goalies that are at the Team USA's disposal.
They've got too many, man. They've got too many. Just while we're on the topic, I know it's out of order for what we had planning, but do you have any World Junior news, any topics of conversation for us you want to dive into?
They might not be getting Berkeley Catton. That's the report from Cam Robinson recently, that Catton is probably going to stay with Seattle. That is extremely disappointing. I thought it was probably 50-50.
Mm.
Sam Dickinson's the guy I am happy to hear. It's more likely than not he's going. We haven't heard anything about Michael Misa, and that is the guy that there's a chance he's World Junior
That's a game
rosters.
changer.
Yeah, there's a chance these World Junior rosters roll out this week. So there's a chance you're listening to this, they're already out, and James and I are gonna hammer it on the next podcast as well.
Team USA World Juniors. Who are they getting? Who's the stud?
Well, I thought the entire hockey community kind of like did James Hagen's dirty last year because he was the number one guy, and I think it was kind of just, oh, look at all these other guys that are now playing almost as good or if not better than him.
Yeah.
And then he just got lost. Like, I still think he was the third best player in the draft last year. He gets lost. He bumps down to 7. I know he was playing between Ryan Leonard
Insane.
yeah,
Insane that the best center in the draft drops to 7.
yeah,
Like
honestly,
legitimate center. The
yeah,
guy who's the
because
best at playing that position.
yeah. Um, so he centered Ryan Leonard and Gabriel Perreault last year, which was a treat
Yep.
for him.
Not for
So
you.
he'll need to drive that first line this year, which is going to be different. I really like Danny Nelson last year, and I think Will Horkoff is their Danny Nelson this year, where he's going to come in, he's going to score, he's going to do a lot on that second line.
He's a stud.
He's Sean Horkoff's son. He's playing really well in the NCAA this season.
Pittsburgh
And
Penguins
then
draft pick.
on the backhand, it's Cole Hudson again, right? Like he is his brother. If his brother drove the net more and shot, which is the main criticism of his brother as far as his offensive game goes. So Cole is a little bit more confident at attack in the middle of the ice. He's got a good shot. If the Americans, I think the U.S. has had the best team on paper going into the last 2 tournaments. The one they won in Gothenburg, I would have from the outset probably argued that it was the U.S. or Sweden. That ended up being the gold medal game. This time it's not the case. I think Canada and maybe Sweden might both be a little bit stronger on paper than they are. If the U.S. pulls something out, it's going to be their top guys. The depth of the States is not the same as the depth of Canada this year, which means I totally think a James Higgins or a Cole Hudson you could see pop up and throw out an MVP performance because David Carl is going to be leaning really hard on the two of them. Cole Hudson had Zeev Boyum last year to play the hard matchups. That's the only X factor I see with him is how is he going to play against Gavin McKenna, where Zeev Boyum was the guy on the ice against him last season or last tournament last year.
I've had a lot of talk about Keaton Verhoff to this point of the season. Some people even crazily ranking him at number 1. I love Keaton Verhoff, but are we going to see him out there for this World Juniors?
Yeah. I think he's going to play like a Jamie Drysdale role. You remember Drysdale's draft year,
Yep.
2020? Yeah, he was used as a oh, we need some energy, go out there and play, but he was predominantly on the third pair. I think with the guys like if Dickinson's there's no way Verhoff I think plays higher than on the third pair. But with that being said, Matthew Schaefer, last season. I wasn't confident he was going to end up being as important to the team as he ended up being because at the end of the day, you look at what happened. A 4-0 win in a game he dominated against Finland. He gets knocked out of the Latvia game 2 minutes in. They lose that one. They lose to the Americans and they lose to the Czechs. They lost 3 of their next 5 games after Schaefer went down with injury. So we could see them maybe build the defense around Veerhoff more than we expect, but with Perek and Dickinson there, I doubt he's going to get a lot of minutes.
Let's take it to the NHL as we're talking about guys who lug a lot of minutes. One of them, a career-long favorite of mine. I used to collect his autograph cards. I relished the opportunity to rub it in Montreal Canadiens' faces when, against the odds, quote unquote, he was the best defenseman in a conference finals that pitted him against PK Subban and the Montreal Canadiens. Ryan McDonagh extends 3 years at 4.1 million per in.
I thought you were going to lean into the fact that that was kind of one of the worst trades of the 2010s. and
Oh, you
that
mean McDonough and a draft pick for Scott Gomez?
Yeah, and Gomez had one really good year in Montreal, and I will totally shout that out.
And
But
Gomez
then,
was a stud before that.
oh, I know. Trust me, like I know how good he was, but I think there was a vast over expectation on how good he was going to continue to be in Montreal. Um, McDonough has, yeah, you said it. Career has just been incredible. New York Rangers captain, spent 2 years in Nashville in between 2 stints in Tampa Bay. It's a lot of money to be paying a 39-year-old in 3 years, but Tampa Bay, more than anybody else, is clearly the all in. We're going to win everything we can, even if it's every single hockey game. Anthony Cirelli's 28 now. Darren Radish, who's been one of their best players, I'll let you talk about him in a second, is 29. Gensel's 30. Hagel's 28. Kucherov's 32, right? Braden Point is approaching 30. He'll be 30 by the time the season's over. Victor Hedman's going to be 35 in 2 weeks. There is not a youth movement coming to replace these guys. And it's at the point with Tampa where, you know what, I actually have a lot of faith that the Tampa Bay Lightning and the organization, when they need to, are going to recoup the assets they can for Point and for Hagel and for Kucherov, for Gensel, for Cirelli. But they're clearly not there yet. And I think this move is kind of to walk one of their veterans to, okay, well, maybe we've got 3 years left where we can win some playoff series. So let's let's go into battle with an older team, but everything they can. I like the contract just for that fact that it makes sense in the interim period of when they're going to be good and kind of walks them to when the competitive window is going to shut for good.
And this is a sick team that we've all kind of let fly by the wayside. Like while we've watched a lot of these Tampa guys get a little bit older, and some of them hit the dusty trail onto other teams so they can play off until the sunset, a la Alex Killorn and Steven Stamkos and guys of that ilk, Mikhail Sergachev going and finding a new home in Utah, things like that. We've started to forget how great the Anthony Cirellis are, how fantastic the Ryan McDonough is at shutting down the opposition, how great a healthy, not currently healthy, but a healthy Victor Hedman is. When Kucherov's on his game as he has been the last couple of weeks, he is among, if not one of the top couple best players in the league. It's incredible to watch, and you love to see it. But um, I've been reaping the rewards because Victor Hedman's injury means someone else on that blue line pops into that top power play unit, and that is Darren freaking Radish. Darren Radish has now played what is it, 24 games, 27 games,
21.
21 games, 18 points, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. A significant amount of which on the power play. The minutes this guy is munching are astronomical, which is a word that I try not to use, but I don't know what else to say at this point. 27-49 last game, 25-28 the game before, 25-22 the game before, and nothing shy of 22 minutes in the games prior. He is now up to a +2, which is very nice considering his plus minus was in the gutter a few weeks ago when Tampa had their rough start. it's just crazy what the guy's doing, and that speaks to the next man up mentality that John Cooper's team has instilled in them. They know they have Vasilevsky behind them. They know they have Nikita Kucherov in front of them. Let's go out there. Let's get this stuff done. Let's see what this team can do. Do I think they're going to win the division? No, I do not. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. But this is a playoff team through and through, and I never really bought into the fact that earlier this season their window is closed. They're not a playoff team anymore. You know what? I don't know if they're going to win a cup. Probably not. Probably not. But weirder things have happened. I don't see them missing the playoffs though, and maybe this is a year where they come back and win a series again. I like what I see. One thing that needs to change, I mean, I imagine Braden Point was playing injured heading up until his little hiatus he's got going on right now. A healthy, thriving Braden Point, because when he's on his game, he's among the best centers in the league, and you love to see it,
His his
especially heading into the
rookie
Olympics.
his rookie year was 2016-17,
Oh,
and this is the worst season he's had since then.
yeah,
And that might even be not giving rookie Braden Point enough credit
yeah.
because he hasn't been good. He hasn't, and I don't disagree with the assessment that he looks hurt when he's been on the ice.
Mm,
Brandon Hagel had a really bad start, and Brandon Hagel has basically gone goal per game since the first like 7-8 games of the season. He's got 17 and 26 now after the first 2 weeks just playing some really not good hockey.
yeah. Yeah. Next contract up. I think the only other one we have to talk about this podcast, Mike Matheson, the defenseman with the Montreal Canadiens, re-ups 6 million per for 5 years. He was kind of cast aside by the Pittsburgh Penguins. This wasn't really this wasn't supposed to be a long-term fit. This was more of an, oh yeah, we'll take him. Why not? This was a veteran on the decline, Jeff Petrie, swapped over to Pittsburgh in exchange for Mike Matheson.
Right after Jeff Petrie had kind of a crazy playoff series against
And then an
Pittsburgh in the
immediate fall
bubble.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then an immediate fall off. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to get what we got out of Mike Matheson. Right up until Lane Hudson came into the picture, he was the main guy on the back end in Montreal and really helped move a lot of pucks up to the Cole Caulfields and Nick Suzuki's as they were kind of making their footprint in the NHL. So it's fantastic to see these get rewarded. Apparently, this is a big culture move, just from what I've heard and what I've read. He's a very well liked guy. He's helped usher in that next era in Montreal, and now he has some job security moving forward. And that $6 million price tag may seem a little daunting. You're going, okay, why are we paying this guy for this long? He's not as old as you think. And to top that off, $6 million as the salary cap has gone up, that's your new $4 million defenseman.
Other thing I was going to say is it's a $15.5 million elite second pair for the next 5 years
Unreal.
because Dobson is at 9.5 indefinitely, and now Matheson at 6. Gives you probably, at least in the interim, I'll call it one of the best second pairs in the NHL. Now, obviously, year over year, guy like Matheson, I've never been the biggest fan of, but he's
Guy like
been,
Dobson, I've never been the biggest fan
yeah,
of.
yeah, he's been excellent in Montreal. He really struggles in those super hard matchups, which is where maybe his minutes will dwindle. I don't know how he fits in if him and Dobson need to become almost a shutdown pair because he needs to be the more defensive out of those two. I imagine though Caden Gooley's going to feature in as well, so we'll see how the dominoes all fall into place. Don't forget we've got a David Reinbacher down the line too that they're going to want to get in based on how how high of a draft pick they spent on him.
That's right. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm forgetting that David Reinbacher exists. Is that a fair assessment that I'm having?
Yeah, to me he's just kind of like the oh
Oh, he's stuck in Nemec territory.
yeah, honestly
Yeah.
that's a pretty good allegory for it.
Okay.
And he is going to be perennially like he's going to be one of those guys that's defined by the fact that Matvey Michkov went after him. in the draft, and that's hard. um, but in the same way that hopefully Simo Nemec doesn't have that Logan Cooley tag on him forever, I think Reinbacher can shake it.
And there's something I was gonna leave until our movie section, but I can't hold of it anymore. Around this time of year, I take a lot of ganders through all the streaming platforms, see what movies are out there, because I'm on the hunt for a holiday movie. And then I find a few holiday movies, and then I don't want to watch that. And then I end up watching something, but then I end up digging through again, looking for a good popcorn flick or a good drama or something. And I end up finding something, but I just dig and dig and dig and go over every movie and watch every trailer and read every synopsis forever. And what I've come to learn, and it's taught me that I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, is how many iconic sports movies, primarily hockey movies, I am not as closely attached to. Some of them I've never even seen. Aiden, have you ever watched Mystery Alaska?
Is that the one where like the town plays against the NHL team in
Yeah,
wow yeah. I don't think I got very far into it to be quite honest with you.
never seen it either. Okay,
Yeah.
well, it is widely considered one of, if not the best hockey movie ever made.
I flag on the play, but go on.
Never seen Young Blood.
Crave has a
You know what Young Blood is?
yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze,
Yeah.
17-year-old farm boy from Michigan,
Yeah.
is offered a hockey tryout, and his brother drives him to Canada. He has fast legs, slow fists, but he's chosen. Will he learn to use his fists and play hockey the Canuck way? Will he get the coach's cute daughter? Tune in to find out.
Is
Yeah.
that are you reading a tagline?
No.
Oh, that's
No.
just out of your okay.
Yeah.
That's I thought you were reading like something off the poster. I'm like, there's no way it says that, dude.
Yeah. No. I've only seen the first slap shot.
Me too. Me too. But it is elite.
Yeah. I've never seen The Love Guru.
I have also not only never seen that, I can't even like picture what that movie is.
I've never seen The Rocket.
That was one that I watched a long time ago.
I know it's a straight to TV one and it's probably not that great, but like it's a thing.
Yeah.
Basically, the only hockey movies I've ever seen are the Mighty Ducks movies.
You ever
Oh,
seen
and MVP Most Valuable Primate.
how about Goon?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. That's
I
one.
I quite like Goon. Um and I think like my mom
Okay, wait,
worked
wait,
with
wait. I got one
somebody.
more. 2006 Pucked, starring John Bon Jovi. A failed lawyer uses credit cards to finance a women's ice hockey league.
Yeah, I think that was like a Mighty Ducks ripoff attempt that really fell on its face.
Okay,
like
one other one I've seen, The Tooth Fairy, starring Dwayne The Rock
yes,
Johnson from
I don't
2010.
I don't think that's a hockey movie. I think it's a movie with hockey in it.
Yeah,
The hockey parts of that movie hold up, I think.
yeah,
I'll say. I don't know how much the rest of the movie holds up,
yeah.
but it's been a
But
while.
basically, you're getting my point here. Like we're missing out on quite a few fantastic little pieces of hockey on the big screen. I mean, I'm quite disappointed in that. And then you take it out further, and you take it out of just hockey. I've never seen Hoosiers. I've never seen Coach Carter.
That one's supposed to be very good. I think I
Yeah,
watched that in school, so it was one of those like, oh, congratulations, you just watched an hour of this movie. Now come back next week for the last 40 minutes.
I've never watched Rudy. I've never watched Remember the Titans.
That
I've
one was an
never
elementary
watched
school one, yeah.
I've never watched Invictus. I've never watched Glory Road. Like I'm so disappointed. I'm such a big sports guy, and like I've really just let them fly by the wayside. Like yeah, I've seen my handful of great ones. Like I've Miracle is hilariously great. Like it doesn't age very well, but like it's awesome.
I know that they went with the attitude, and I think it's a correct one, that it was easier to teach hockey players how to act than actors how to skate.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
so that entire movie, it's basically Kurt Russell and then a bunch of guys they could find that could skate.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And I respect that. I
yeah.
actually went to Disneyland like a month and a half after this was released. And because I was 5 years old in Disneyland, almost six, and they were showing that they had like all kinds of showings of it in the park, and my uncles wanted to go see it, but the rest of my family did not, and I really wish I had that experience of going to see it. I think we watched Backdraft instead, the movie about firefighters, and it was one of those 4D things where you can feel it and the heat from there scared me too much, and like all these firefighters in danger, so I ended up having to leave. I got scared, so yeah, I think I met a bunch of like people dressed as like Goofy and Donald Duck and ate like corn dogs with them or something. It was cool. Good times. But yeah, Aiden, you're kind of getting my point here. I'm missing so many of these iconic sports movies. So I have a pitch, and that is you're going to be here for Christmas.
Mhm.
You and I would like us to pick one sports movie each. And while we have our holiday podcasts, I'd like us to do a 10 or 15-minute review on one of these sports movies.
Is there sports Christmas movies that we could find? No, stop.
Mystery
Never mind.
Alaska.
No, it's gonna be brutal. No matter what, they're gonna be brutal. I just had like a Hallmark Christmas sports movie pop into my head,
That's a
and I
really
just,
bad idea. You should
yeah,
not go down that
no,
road.
that makes me sick to the stomach. So we're gonna move on.
I'm pitching either Mystery Alaska, Rudy, one of these ones. One of these guys, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good idea. I'll look for one.
Okay.
Um, last, uh, last NHL thing, really quick, in terms of on ice stuff. Drew Doughty's coming back. Awesome news for the Kings. The rest of our news is off ice, and James,
Uh,
we laughed about how absolutely bizarre some of these injuries were. We didn't laugh at the players suffering the injuries. It was just the fact that we had two absolutely bizarre injuries. We had a barbecue accident and a team dinner accident. And that is crazy. And then it got weirder because Alexei Toropchenko of the Blues is now out injured because of a cooking accident in his home that resulted in burns. So I don't even know how we had controversy at times, right? Where like NHL players would go do things like snowmobile with their time off,
yeah.
go hunting with their time off, and there was
Corey Crawford breaking his foot, leaving a concert drunk.
yeah, and that gets into the news. I am just I'm just confused. I'm just confused because we haven't heard anything about. We've just heard timelines. We haven't heard what the injuries are. Usually we'll get more specification than that. And we haven't heard anything from the teams, and I'm almost surprised because when that happened to Crawford, I know there was a stupid snowmobile one. That one's in my head. You heard about it, and you heard about the teams being like upset about it. I, I'm I want to know more. I guess it is such a bizarre set of circumstances that it's like, no, I'd like to know how this happened actually. Um, Calgary bring their management group back. This was not a popular decision in this city, but I like it because I think they are doing the beginning of a rebuild fine. I
Still the
know it's
beginning?
pardon.
Is it still the beginning?
They've done the beginning of the rebuild fine. And I think taking them out now is taking them out just as their vision is starting to kind of fall into place because I still think Calgary have Beyond this year, probably one more year of low performance, high draft picks, and then you're going to see a Calgary Flames team that looks built, looks solid, and looks ready to get back to where they were last season, which is beginning to compete for a playoff spot. And they'll be kind of like Montreal 3 years later. I don't think the prospects look as good as Montreal's have and continue to, but you got a guy like Zane Parekh on the back end. You got a Dustin Wolf in net. And this year, you're going to get either Gavin McKenna or Ivar Stenberg, I think, in a
Or
top
they're
three
going to end
spot.
up going on a small winning streak and getting the sixth overall draft pick.
Yeah, which is a very Vancouver thing to do, too. Vancouver currently
Dude,
32nd in the
Vancouver's going to
NHL.
draft at 11. Don't kid yourself.
Dude, they're going to draft to 11 because they're going to trade down from whatever top three pick they have for
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
30-year-old middle six forward.
Yeah. One other Calgary prospect I really like. I like Cole Rashney.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that is an all around complete top six centerman. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's gonna end up being a 1C, a 2C, or a 3C, but whatever Reshny does is complete.
I
It
would
is.
love to have him as a 3C.
Yeah, I think he ends up being a second line center. I
Yeah.
think a high performing at every end of the ice top six centerman.
One guy I'm curious about, I don't know if you've paid any attention to him over the past couple of years, Samuel Honzek. Why are we starting to forget he exists? Is he not relevant? Is he not developing at the rate we want him to?
Yeah, he was one of those guys that was on the older and the bigger side of his draft year.
Mm,
And as like his age group, his year got older, you could tell they caught up to him.
mm.
And so he was still a highly touted prospect more than anything else from, like the total package of the 2 or 3 years before he got drafted. I think at the NHL level, he projects more as a bottom six forward, but I still think this is a guy that could be a really effective third line winger. Um, I don't know. To me, I see why Calgary doesn't need to force him to be anything he's not yet. Like, just I don't think he's going to be a superstar. I don't think he's going to be anything like a 25 goal, 60-point guy, which I know was some of the expectations coming out of the draft. Um, so yeah, James, I like him. He was a Vancouver Giant, but third line winger is where I see him fitting into this Calgary Flames team when it's ready to compete.
Well, if you've managed to stay awake during our quick observe and report on the state of the Calgary Flames, let's take you to a topic that is going to be a little more interesting for you. Well, I'm hoping it'll be more interesting because it's all I've seen on the internet. It's all I've heard in any podcast over the past couple weeks.
Oh God.
Everybody's freaking out about the Olympics right now and about how people from the NHL and the IHF went over to Milan to check out the ice hockey arena that they're going to be using for the Olympics. And apparently it was not put together just right just yet, and it's too short. Aiden, people are in an outrage. They're saying, let's take this tournament somewhere else. Let's make it a broad area of Europe. Let's screw this. Let's just have the hockey part of it in North America. All of these are massive overreactions, but I like to think you're a smarter man than me. Aiden, what the hell is going on?
James, one NHLer that was already named to an Olympic team. We don't know who it is, but he told ESPN that he didn't believe the ice area being 3 feet shorter was going to affect the game too much. I remember talking when I was under the impression it was going to be a double IHF Olympic size ice, which is 20 feet wider than the NHL surface. That makes a big difference. I don't think that because it ends up being a shorter neutral zone. That's what it'll end up being. You're going to see the same standard size of offensive zones. Your neutral zone is going to be a foot and a half shorter on both sides, and I really don't think that is a huge deal. The NHLer that was named to an Olympic team, what he told ESPN was, quote, with the talent level that there's already going to be, there will be no time and space. The games are going to be incredible no matter what. Just give us a sheet of ice and we'll be good. Now, if there was like something else they could do here, James, you mentioned taking this to a bigger European thing. No, Number one, the International Olympic Committee is not flexible ever about anything. The rules and the way the IOC governs is with an iron fist, and so again, it's unsurprising that the chief games operator for the Milan Olympics said, "quote There is no plan B." Like there really isn't, and it is basically going to be, for whatever reason, if the NHL decides we can't do this on a 3 feet shorter ice surface, they're not going to go. And again, you'll remember that the 22 Olympics in Beijing, China, for a long time, it was clear that the intention was for the NHLers to go. They were having global series games in China that I was pretty sure were part of a build-up to the Chinese Olympics having NHL players there. Now, you had the COVID factor, but again, there was no middle ground to be struck. There was no deal to be struck between the NHL and the International Olympic Committee. The relationship there is already strained enough that you didn't get NHLers in the Olympics till 1998, and then again, we had it cut off in 2018. No global pandemic ramifications there, and then again in 2022. So anybody thinking that the NHL has the power here to like pick up the tournament and drop it somewhere else, I'm sorry. Like, that's just not how the IOC boogies. Like that's at the end of the world. That's the start and the end of it. So it's hard. It is hard. It's hard to guess what's going to happen here. I think I speak for a lot of hockey fans when I say that we don't really care about a 3 feet shorter arena if it is the difference between the Olympics having and not having NHL players. Obviously, with the success of the Four Nations face-off, the NHL is finally understanding that that international play is good for the sport. So I think we're gonna get something like, no 2026 Olympics means the NHL will do everything in their power to throw something together, but it's not going to be an Olympic tournament the way that I've heard some speculation. Like, they're not going to drop an Olympic tournament outside of Milan or Cortina here. So, yeah, the illusions of this tournament being played somewhere else just isn't going to happen. And again, it's just a cross of the fingers that the ice hockey arena built on the outskirts of Milan here is is deemed good enough for the Olympics, because boy, would that be a punch in the gut if all of a sudden the Olympic players are suddenly barred from going just because the rink is a few feet shorter. I think that's a little bit silly. But again, James, there is no plan B. That's straight out of the IOC, and the IOC is not an organization that likes to collaborate.
And I mean, historically, when in the history of the Olympics would that have ever had to happen? So I mean, in my eyes, a plan B for an event of that magnitude is for quitters. So I think you figure it out or it's over. Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Thank you for breaking it down for everyone. PWHL. It's been a nice warm welcome in Vancouver. We touched on it last week. Aiden, what are your thoughts on the start for the Golden Knights so far?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate start as far as the consistency of their play. They have lost 3 straight since their opener to Ottawa, New York, and Boston, and have struggled to score. However, I will give all of the flowers to the team and the fans at the Pacific Coliseum on Friday, the 21st of November. Electric building when Sarah Nurse scored the first goal for the Golden Eyes. And pretty much the perfect ending. It's Abby Barine in overtime who ends it and gives Vancouver the inaugural victory. So as much as a 1-3 record isn't a super inspiring start, and Vancouver, like a few other teams in this league, are one of the new expansion sides. And I know that if you're an NHL fan recently, the ramifications of being a new expansion team aren't as pronounced because of how good some of the NHL expansion teams have been over the last decade. But this is how expansion teams often go in hockey. It is just harder to compete in a way that is meaningfully impactful the way a Vegas Golden Knights did.
As long as the fans latch on, as long as the city latches on, and as long as the players have a good time playing there, it's a win for me. Aiden, it's time for the fantasy gamblers roundup. Because you need to know when to hold them, you need to know when to fold them, and you need to know when to walk away. We already touched on Darren Radish. This is a guy where you're throwing all your chips in and you're making sure you have a Darren Radish on your squad right now. Because there are a lot of defensemen in fantasy hockey who have been wildly underperforming over the course of the season. You get a little bit out of them, but then they fade off. Right now, I'm dealing with that from a Shea Theodore, from a Seth Jones. These are guys who had high expectations for based on their situation, but no dice. People had to wait quite a while for Josh Morrissey to pick it up. I believe through the first 10, 15 games, he was quite irrelevant from a fantasy perspective. I mean, fantastic product on the ice, incredibly useful player, but we're talking fantasy hockey here. This is all about helping your team win, and if they're not helping your team win, what's the point? Fold the cards. So. Darren Radish right now, push all your chips in, get yourself a nice little slice of him. But there's a little key piece of information here, Aiden. How long is Victor Hedman out with injury? It's not long. I believe it's supposed to be a 3-week timeline, something like that. I could be a little bit
Well,
off there.
I think it was a 3 week timeline. It was a conservative 3 week timeline mid November.
Oh,
So we're talking like he could be back. I think I'd be surprised to see him back this weekend, but he could be back against the Islanders in their next game. If not, we're probably seeing him next week.
so when Victor Hedman comes back, that's going to change your strategy a little bit. It's going to go from, all right, all of my chips are pushed in. I'm holding on to this Darren Radish and milking everything I can out of him. But it's going to need to become a little bit of exercise some patience, assess the situation, see how much of that power play opportunity Hedman takes back, see how Radish's ice time notches down after a little bit, and more importantly, see how Tampa keeps playing because they are on a hot streak right now. Hedman is not going to take everything from him, but the Lightning falling off a cliff would take even more from him.
Here's what I'll say: Darren Radish to me is going to be overused by the Tampa Bay Lightning on account of how weak that right side of their defense has become. I don't dislike Eric Chernak, but he's kind of at the end of his rope as well as a top four, definitely a top pair defenseman. He was beside Hedman for so long. Now, Steven Stamkos played on the Tampa Bay Lightning power play for like a decade and a half in the same spot. Like he was the other Ovechkin shooter from that place for a long time. He was a 60 goal scorer off of a lot of shots there. The first attempt Tampa made at replacing Stamkos on that power play on that left hand side was Darren Radish. They set up the same way and put Radish there. Now, it didn't work, but that should tell you what this Tampa Bay Lightning team thinks about this player. They had no reservations against giving him so much runway when Hedman got hurt. And number one, I wonder about Victor Hedman, and as old as he is, why don't you save his minutes? Right? If Radish is playing as good as he is on that power play, Braden Point's still not back, and I know some hockey fans might not make as big of a deal out of it. Braden Point's a right-handed shot. Darren Radish is a right-handed shot. So often on the power play, the way you set up, you need to put players in positions that they can get the puck off their stick as fast as they can. There's nobody else on Tampa that has the right-handed shot. Kucherov, Hagel, Gensel, and Hedman all shoot left. It's Point. And so without Point, I totally think Radish is going to end up there, if for no other reason than it keeps a certain symmetry, and you can still generate offense from either side of the power play. It's not just everything going through Nikita Kucherov.
So you're gassing up the long-term fantasy value this season of a Darren Radish.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you're right on it, and I think he's absolutely with this opportunity he's been given. The last couple of seasons, he's been given these opportunities and been inconsistent, but this season is a significantly more consistent version of this player. Um, and you know what? Again, when the Tampa Bay Lightning clearly really like a player, I give that a lot of credence because it's an organization that has smart people doing smart things for it's been that way for a long time. John Cooper is one of the best, if not the best coach in the league too.
You love to see it. From a fantasy perspective, again, Jesper Wallstedt. This is I mean, just a fantastic showing he's had over the past couple weeks. Four shutouts in was it 6 games, Aiden?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, amazing. One of the best stretches you'll ever see out of any goaltender, let alone a guy his age. But we are talking fantasy, and when I'm talking fantasy, I'm talking about it from a dynasty format in most instances. If you're playing a dynasty format, Jesper Wallsted's got all the value in the world right now. People would just be crawling to you and pleading to get him for their squads, especially with in leagues with more keepers than not. Our league runs with 10 keepers on a 23-man roster. So you have a lot of room to keep a goalie or two, especially if your team that's rebuilding. So if you're the guy who has Jesper Wallsted, I'm going to tell you that there are plenty of goalies in the draft every year. And just because he's this hot right now, this is the time that you need to cash in. This is the time that you need to go to someone who is just starving for a goalie to build around, a goalie to have on their keeper team for years to come. Milk them for all they've got. This is when you need to know when to walk away. You're not going to want to. You're going to see the shining lights here and you're going to go, he might just be this good. Well, you know what? The best he's going to hope for is a 45-35 split with Mr. Philip Gustafson in Minnesota. So cash out right now. Take everything you can get for him. Take your opponent to the cleaners. This isn't your friend. Ruin their team. Destroy their team. Take everything they've got. All of their rentals. Make more off of what they've got. I just I want you to win. Now, in our league, our good friend Caleb has him.
Caleb doesn't need to move him.
Caleb's not going to move him. Caleb's going to sit on him until his value drops off a cliff. That's what Caleb does. Don't be a Caleb. He could have
Yeah, but
cashed out on Chris Kreider earlier this season when Kreider was potting power play goals left and right. Now Kreider's back to his mid-range self, and he didn't cash in. Don't be a Caleb. If you
I'm
want to win,
so, dude.
don't be a Caleb.
Well, and in this dynasty format, I've spent 3 seasons being so obsessed with moving guys at the peak of their value that I have both really succeeded and really failed at that.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's a line to walk. It's a line to walk of when to offload guys. I think I traded Charlie McAvoy like the second before his value hit the absolute lowest it will ever be. But then I traded Kyle Connor for for a package that could have been more at the time. It was
A
Wyatt
lot more.
Johnston.
A
It was
lot
Wyatt
more.
Johnston, but Wyatt Johnston wasn't what he was now at the
Yeah.
time. I really just I Wyatt Johnston was a guy where I was like, if I want to make my team young, I think he is top five U23 players in the league. So I went after him hard, but probably could have got more for Connor. So it's a balancing act.
There's a winner and a loser in every trade. You're always going to be one of them. Aiden, for the last guy on our Fantasy Gamblers Roundup this week, I'm going to go a little bit unconventional because I'm going to ask you to give this man some flowers. This is a player who you said this production is completely unsustainable. You said, oh, this one stat is a clear indicator that this player will not be able to keep it up. This player is not that great. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I feel like you're putting way too much negativity on what I said about him. I said Morgan Geeky wasn't going to keep shooting at 40%. That's what I said.
Okay, well,
And he's
he's now
not.
shooting at what, 27?
He's shooting at 27, which is a
Yeah.
little bit above what he'll probably finish with, but it's
Yep.
a lot better of a number to be looking at 21 goals in 29 games on a 27% shooting
Mhm.
percentage is a lot better of a number. And
Mhm.
at this point, you really shouldn't be betting that
I
Morgan
kept
Geeky.
Morgan Geeky instead of Zach Bolduc and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be betting on a sub 40 goal season if he stays healthy. He's only playing 17.44 a night too.
Hmm.
That's worth mentioning.
So he's not getting tired.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
he's oh man, this guy. I think he has 4 goals, and the points are even more impressive. It's 4 goals and 8 points in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the one moment, the one time that I'm gonna do it. I'm currently leading my fantasy league, and this is year 8, I believe.
Have you
And
won? How many times have you
I
won?
won twice. I won in year 1 and year 3.
Year
I've
one and year
placed
three.
second, I think, 2 other times. And then I've placed third a couple times, and then just 2 times outside of the top 3. And those were transition years. Those were years where I had to start looking towards the future. In a dynasty format, it's really hard to start looking towards the future without completely tearing down your team. And why would I tear down my team if I have a Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar? It's just
Especially with
stupid.
like we've got 10 keepers in this league now. It's you and whoever made that decision with you. I remember at the time kind of being like, dude, like
You
you're
actually you dunked on that decision. You
yeah,
argued against it vehemently.
yeah, because my line of thinking was kind of like, well, like if I suck, okay? If I suck and I'm super active in January and February trying to grab rentals and trying to grab a bunch of injured players and looking ahead, I should be able to keep those guys, more of those guys than somebody who abandoned fantasy in December, didn't do anything,
Yep.
and now have their 10 best players back, even though, right? That was my thinking at the time. Now, with the fact that we had a draft with only 10 keepers, I'm on your side now for sure.
It's actually fun.
Yeah, it's better. It
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah.
Okay, two
It
more things. Two more things. We have movie show and then this great Canadian hockey podcast. Everybody that listens to it, I've definitely mentioned how crazy of a soccer fan I am. Um, European family comes with the territory. We had the World Cup draw today, and I know this is a hockey podcast, but Canada's in it. The United States are in it. We know who they're going to be playing. Canada got a tough group, so I'll get to that. But James, what has been your show, your movie over this week, aside from looking through and specifically not watching a lot of sports movies?
So for movies, I've been going the holiday route for quite a bit of it. The girlfriend and I have been having a lot of fun diving into those. Last time we talked, that was Home Alone 1 and 2, and I believe the first Santa Claus. No, I watched the first Santa Claus again just after that. And then this week, her and I watched Christmas with the Cranks again. That was fantastic. Tim Allen, Jamie Lee Curtis. You have a good laugh for the whole thing. I really wish we had more of this style of comedy in today's holiday movies. For some reason, you can't make a holiday movie nowadays without it being full-blown, overdone blockbuster CGI garbage a la Red One, or it being a extremely low budget holiday Christmas movie. I've learned a little bit about this over the last little while. Studios really aren't making the 40 to 80 million dollar movies anymore. They're only making the wildly expensive ones and then the incredibly cheap ones. We can get into that another time. This is a rant that Aiden and I would go off of on for like, I don't know, a half hour. I saw
Oh,
him like cocking back to like start
listen.
going off about this. And
Well,
I'm actually not going to give him the opportunity to talk about this because it is a very long-winded point.
yeah.
For t Christmas movies, probably next on my list is I'll be watching Love Actually. Every holiday season, I watch Love Actually on a day when I'm very hungover. And this weekend, I mean, it's the Friday already. I've got a handful of friends coming over for the weekend. My friends Nathan, Pierce, Gareth, and Jacob will all be over tonight. Tomorrow, I'll have my buddy Jesse over here, them along with Caleb and Colton. We will all be going to the Canucks game against the Minnesota Wild on Saturday. I very much look forward to watching Boldy and Kaprizov run laps around this subpar Vancouver squad that I love watching getting dunked on. And then after that, we're just gonna have a night out where we take it way too deep and we're probably drinking cocktails at some random dive bar at 1:30 in the morning. And then Sunday, I'm gonna make a frozen pizza and watch Love Actually.
That's a good plan.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I got Flames Mammoth ticket for tomorrow.
Beauty,
Yeah,
beauty.
first time I'll
Um,
see Utah in person.
One more thing for TV shows. Stranger Things. Been a big fan of that show since it came out. I actually hopped on when the week season 2 came out. I binge watched the whole first season on a cold fall evening. I carried that until about 5 a.m. and then and then I started watching season 2 the next day. I was hooked right away. I love it. Fantastic writing, awesome original idea. I love how ominous it was in the build going up, and I love a plot where you love and appreciate the effort from the main characters to find out what's going on, but you as the watcher can see that they truly know absolutely nothing. And they are in such a point of peril that their efforts are admirable, but I mean, dude, you can fix bent, you can fix broken, but you can't fix that word that starts with an F and rhymes with cucked. Yeah, my grandpa always said that, but yeah, I've watched the first 4 episodes of the fifth and final season now. They released those to start December. The next four come out on Christmas Day, and then I think 2.5 hour finale movie comes out on New Year's Eve. First 4 episodes, excellent pacing, great character development. It has a very large cast of main characters at this point, and each of those characters has their own little storyline and their own destiny that they have to achieve by the end. So it's nice watching some of those come to fruition, and it's and kind of bookend a couple, pick up where a couple I thought had really fallen off, make me care about characters that I stopped caring about whatsoever in the last season or two. So I really enjoyed that, and I really look forward to picking it up near the end. I will probably give my own personal review once the full finale comes out. Aiden, have you watched the show at all?
Tried.
Tried.
Yeah, just wasn't there for me.
Gotcha. You are a hater sometimes. You are a hater.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Aiden, I know you are a purveyor of finely put together and critically acclaimed pieces of film and television. And I know you watched probably one of the best seasons of TV ever to come out. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm only halfway through. I'm only halfway through. Season 1 of True Detective has been, again, if you're a TV fan and haven't watched this, I'm sure you've already heard. I don't need to be the one to tell you that this is excellent. Again, but season 1, episode 4, I watched last night. It's called Who Goes There, and it might be the greatest hour of television I've ever seen, and that's a high bar. HBO, man, like every 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 great show feels like it's HBO of late. I love Succession. I loved The Newsroom, and we've got True Detective on this list too. Loved Chernobyl.
Is
Like,
this only because you're now finally diving into a lot of the content that HBO has to offer?
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, because it comes with Crave now.
Yeah.
And I never like had it prior to. I would have just watched what I could pick up elsewhere. So really like breaking the ground, and it is, yeah, it blew me away. Season 1, episode 4, just
One piece of advice I will give you, don't expect the other seasons to live up to this. View them as a different form of television, as a completely different show, and you'll still enjoy them.
well, it's 4 separate seasons with 4 separate
It's
sets
an
of,
anthology series.
yeah, sets of a cast. Um, So yeah, it is. It's four different shows under an umbrella as much as anything else.
That's right. That's right, definitely. And yeah, I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen it, give it a go. It's Matthew McConaughey, it's Woody Harrelson at the peak of their powers. And if you like watching Matthew McConaughey being one sick whole like incredibly well-crafted creature of a man, give it a go. It's definitely one of his more interesting roles. I thoroughly enjoy it. I kind of like all sides of McConaughey. Like I like his bubblegum popcorn garbage. I like his comedic drama. I like his full drama. I even like some of the action stuff he's in, but this is perfect. It's finely crafted role for sure. Aiden, any predictions, pieces of note that you want to talk about hockey wise before we dive out of here?
No, not really. We'll just talk about Canada's World Cup really quickly. Group B of the World Cup. Now, if you watched the World Cup draw, which was Friday morning today as we record, yeah, it was a disaster completely, just through and through. The event itself was really hard to watch. um, I would like to implore TSN at times to maybe do your own broadcast of something and not just tap into other feeds because it really let down, I think, the viewing audience in Canada. Um, I can understand. I understood what Roberto Carlos is, a Brazilian left back. I understood what he said in Portuguese, but there was a lot of not English being spoken, and I can totally understand why a TSN audience in Canada was a little bit upset by the fact that they had no idea what people were saying at times, right? And that doesn't bug me in terms of a global stage. Like, speak your own language, but we've got the second biggest sports network in Canada, and they can't even bother to have somebody talking as like anybody doing a broadcast as this was going on. It was a disaster from start to finish, and honestly, anything that TSN could have cut to break down what was happening would have been better than what they did. Now, I have long expected the organization and the execution of this tournament to be a disaster in the United States. So we're going to talk about the soccer itself because that is the thing that won't be a disaster. Canada is in Group B, and they got one of the hardest groups. Qatar is the easiest team to play in this group, but they get in with Switzerland and then a playoff winner that will probably be Italy. So if Italy does make this tournament, which I would say is more likely than not coming out of this path, Canada plays Italy in the third game of the tournament at BMO Field in Toronto on June 12th. That is a huge event. Then two games at BC Place, June 18th against Qatar and June 24th against Switzerland. Canada has an excellent chance at qualifying out of this group. If you're just getting into soccer because it's a World Cup year in Canada, I'm sorry. This is the most convoluted World Cup ever to be played, and it will only be one up at the next tournament. So you're not getting simple here because we've decided that the tournament needs to be 48 teams up from 32. James,
And
you're
how many
cutting.
cities is it being played in? Because that part is ridiculous to me.
It is also crazy. I'm not going to count them right now, but here's what I'll throw at you, James. Okay, 48 teams. You need to bring it to 32 after a group stage with four teams each. Now, if you do the math, there's no even way that that happens. So you have the top two of each group going through, and then of the 12 groups, you're going to rank the third place teams 1 to 12. The top eight
Oh.
third place teams go through. James, here's where it gets really
Can
stupid.
I sign off?
Dude, do you know how many possible combinations of third place teams going through there is? There's
Uh,
495.
uh.
So again, I'm sorry if you're like, I'm so fired up to get into soccer for this tournament, and you're looking at this like, I have no idea what's going on. Listen, hopefully there will be better broadcasts for the World Cup than we saw today. And If you know me, hit me up. I'll try and walk you through this best I can. But as far as the city goes, as far as the event goes, nothing not to be excited about in Vancouver because we have some pretty cool games.
Okay, there's
Canada
something not to
Switzerland's
be excited
excellent.
about on the soccer front, though. What's all this smoke about the Whitecaps being relocated?
It's been like that for a while. There's been smoke.
There's been smoke?
Yeah. Now, they're in the final tomorrow of the
Yeah.
Major League Soccer playoffs. I think the success they had will greatly help them, but they don't own BC Place,
Yeah.
and apparently their deal, whatever they get per game out of BC Place, is so bad that
Right.
they are just ready to say screw this. Like we don't want to have the team here
Yeah,
anymore.
don't they get like almost none of the gate?
Yeah, and the owners want to sell, so it's the double-headed monster of you don't own the stadium, you don't get a lot of income from these games, and now you want to sell the team. And chances are somebody who's going to step up to the plate and buy this team is not going to want the same deal with the stadium that they have. So that is where the relocation concerns come from.
Amara
Um,
Doman, the owner of the BC Lions, should buy them. And then he could use that to leverage some kind of deal. He's cool. I've met him a couple times. Nice guy.
yeah,
Yeah, when I was an intern for the BC Lions, no big deal. No big deal. Kind of a star, no big deal. I caught a football in the middle of BC Place. It was pretty cool. Whatever.
that was like 5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but did you catch a football in the middle of the field on BC
No,
Place?
no,
I
I
did.
can't say. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you volunteered to be a FIFA ball boy? Because they're not paying
No.
anybody. They're just asking for a bunch of people to volunteer because they're FIFA. And
Right. Oh, they need to save the money, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
this
Word.
billions of dollars of revenue tournament.
Word. I'm so down to help them save some money.
Yeah,
Take one for the team, dog. For sure. For sure. All of those things that you said about this upcoming FIFA World Cup, it goes right in line with I remember when it was announced that some games would be played in Vancouver, I was like, dude, hell yeah, I'm excited. Maybe I'll like find a way to go to a game. Maybe I'll get kind of into this one. Maybe I'll get kind of invested. And over time, I've just kind of like lost interest completely. Like it just gradually goes down every few months. Every time I hear about it, I'm like, ugh, I don't know. Am I gonna pay attention to that? And then I've now reached the point where it's like, nah, it'll happen. I don't know if I'll watch. I'm not that concerned.
I think you will.
You think I will?
I think you will. Yeah.
You think I'm gonna go to a game?
No, dude, these games, like, speaking of money, like,
You're telling me you're not gonna be able to buy a last minute ticket on game time?
no, I don't
No.
think so. I'm
Oh.
not paying 2 months rent to go to a game.
It's gonna
Like,
be
it's just,
$4,000, $3,000 to go to one of these games.
I would not be surprised if it ends up looking like that.
You're telling me I can't go see because obviously we're gonna get like the worst games in Vancouver. I'm
I
full.
can I
That's
can tell you Canada, probably Italy, Canada, probably Italy's at BMO Field, but then BC Place gets Canada, Qatar, they'll get Switzerland, Canada, and then we're going to go down
oh,
this list.
Switzerland. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good game. They're going to get Australia against, again, it's another playoff team. It'll probably be Turkey on June 13th. And then because of, again, the absolute absolute just lack of cohesion in some of the planning, they will get two of these four games: Belgium, Iran, New Zealand, Egypt, New Zealand, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, all out
What's
of
the
Group
worst
G.
one of those games?
It is, what is the worst one?
Yeah.
Probably New Zealand, Egypt.
Okay, I want to
Um,
go to that one.
yeah, now here's the problem, okay? The tickets themselves, like, it's not like the Ticketmaster problem where like you'll get a release and it's like, oh, these tickets are $150 each, and then you're 5 minutes late, it's like, oh, these resale tickets are $450 each. Well, they're
Oh,
450 because
dude,
they're up from
I have a
100.
rant to go on about that before we leave.
Yeah, but now, James, so when you sell the tickets for thousands of dollars off the hop, Like the resale again, if you think about what the markup is on a $150 ticket on the resale market, like these tickets are being sold by FIFA for thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
and they're going to get turned around. Honestly, I think the best way if you're in Vancouver to experience the World Cup, there's a huge portion of a lot of different cultures in Vancouver. If it's me, I am going somewhere where there's a bunch of Italians or Iranians or anything, fill in the blank. And I would love to go watch a game with a bunch of people who are supporting their country in Vancouver. There will be these watch parties all over the place. There are large proportions of non-Canadian heritage people in Vancouver. Obviously, it's a very diverse city. So Commercial Drive will have cafes and restaurants from all over
Oh,
the
yeah.
place showing these games. Um, I think that is the best way to do it. And
Maybe you get
they're
lucky and it's one of those places that turns into a karaoke bar after the game. 2-for-1 smash.
in the same way they did for the Olympics.
Hold on. I just said spesh instead of special. It's one of those words that should not be shortened at all. I'm sorry. I'll never say that again. That was terrible. That was really dumb. I don't even know if I should I should be a host on this.
That's a flag. No, that's a flag on the play.
Yeah. 2-for-1 spesh. Come on, man. Ugh. Ew. Okay, can I complain about something?
Yeah, we have. We're
Me
an hour
60
15
seconds.
in.
Give me
Yeah,
60 seconds to
yeah.
complain about something. So it's well documented that I love music festivals and I love house music and I love all of this. I love this little dirty dancey world that I take part in. And Vancouver and BC as a whole has gotten blessed with a couple fantastic events over the last little while. But these events are lower occupancy events. An artist called Fred again, who has been pretty revolutionary in his field, him, Skrillex, and an artist called Fortet were basically called upon last minute to close Coachella one year when Kanye just decided to not come as a headliner and close the festival. It was wild, it was crazy, but they did a damn good job of it, and it launched an amazing partnership. And Fred, he has a handful of great songs, even if you don't like that kind of music. One of them is called Delilah. Highly recommend that to people. But he is doing an awesome little series of shows called USB 002. And so it's 8 cities, 8 weeks, 8 shows, and 8 songs.
Oh,
Every every one of these cities is going to have a release, and then at the end, the album comes out. Now, Vancouver got announced, and they're announced like 4 days before the show, maybe a week before the show. Then Vancouver got announced, and so one of the local event production companies, Blueprint, who puts on a lot of these events, they were given the rights for this, and no, maybe Live Nation, can't remember, I'm unsure. But regardless, there was a queue. There was a pre-sale queue, and there's a very high demand for this. We're a pretty house and techno forward city. We're a city that likes to dance, and we do a great job of it. We have a lot of concerts. It's fantastic. But there were 100,000 people in the queue for an event that might have had 9 or 10,000 capacity with a 6-person ticket purchase limit. And a significant amount of people, because of website overload, were just repeatedly kicked out of the queue. Now, I didn't partake in this one. I knew that I wasn't going to get it. I didn't want to go to it as bad as a lot of other people. I wasn't going to buy one for resale, and I think I had plans already. So it was whatever. Not the biggest deal. Oh yeah, I had my company staff party. I wasn't going to go. Non-issue. So, fast forward a few days later. The artist John Summit, who I have one of his songs tattooed on my arm. I've seen 9 or 10 of his shows. I've seen like 4 of his collaborative shows with another artist. I'm a giant fan, huge fan. Commented on one of my Instagram pictures once. Yeah, I'm giant fan of the guy. He has a label called Experts Only, and he calls it that. And the logo is a black diamond because he loves skiing. So he throws ski weekender festivals. So naturally, he's throwing a music festival in Whistler in March. And it's another one of those ones where it's only 10,000 tickets sold per day. And two separate times. I had one of my best friends and my girlfriend in the queue while I was at work. They're sending me live updates as they get up to 1,000 in the queue or 600 in the queue, and then they just get kicked back down to 7,000 repeatedly, over and over and over. And again, this was one of those ones where when you get in, you have a six ticket limit. Why do you need six? So now what that's led to is everyone who got in there with, and there are people who have ticket bots. Those are the people from the sneaker community. Those are the people from the Pokemon card drop community. It's a huge mess. So there's people who aren't even going to the shows at all, who've gone in with their ticket bots the second the website opens, and it's like the millisecond. So it's before you could ever get in. And then what they do is they buy the full six tickets, and then now they're reselling them for more than double.
Yeah.
So it would have been $360 for my weekend pass on pre-sale day or 400 on regular sale day. Now, 800 minimum. How am I supposed to go then? Because everyone has bought every single ticket, and probably 80% of them already are in their forever homes. The other 20% are all resale for ridiculous, ridiculous prices. There's something that needs to be done and something that needs to be fixed with the ticket buying setup. I don't know if what it is, but the solution isn't having ticket queues at 10 a.m. while people are all at work. I understand that some people work nights, some people don't work Monday to Friday, but I would say a solid more than half of the population works at 10 a.m.
So, James, are you telling me that you think companies who stand to profit off of this
They're
aren't the
not
people?
profiting though. They're not. It's the resale market that's profiting more than that.
The resale Where do these tickets go out?
They go out through Admit One,
Because
and then next, these people are selling them for cash and then transferring them for free.
my
So
thought,
so these companies are
my
selling single day passes to these people for $180 each, and these people are going and selling them for 430, and they're buying all of them. Six tickets per device. So they're getting in there and buying 18 of them between a tablet, a laptop, and a phone, all using a bot program. And they're taking every single one of them. So you think 100 people do this. That's 1,800 of the 10,000 tickets taken. Insane. Absolutely insane. There's no clear solution right now. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm angry about it. I'm still going to find a way to go. I might rob someone. I don't know. I'm going to go though, because it's set, Aiden, right before you and I are going to be resuming our academic careers.
oh sweet.
Yeah. So I need my little send off. I really do. But anyway, I digress. That's my rant for the day. Can't wait to come back to you guys next week. So without further ado, Aiden, let's roll that outro. Thanks, guys.